Hi, you're welcome to the Olah show, and today we're talking about something that affects everybody as Nigerians and also the entire African continent. It's also a sensitive topic of some sort because it's something that affects everybody. However, we try to shy away from it. So I will save you the stress of trying to overthink it. We're talking religion as another system of control. But before we delve into that topic, let's enjoy some spoken word. And then when we get back, you get to meet my guest for today. He's a very handsome young man. Yeah. And his hair is so long, but he's really good looking. It's still the Olah show. We'll be back shortly.
Shada was 8 and isolate. Her parents worked 24 hours a day, so the eyes of a maid was paid to keep an eye on her. Her day cycled from the face of the maid to a galaxy of little faces with unanswered questions, and then back to her maid. And at night, she stared at the stars on the wall that never existed, waiting for a cuddle from a parent that was work resilient. That was her mental cycle every day. She was never told she was smart. Her heart was never parted for her patience, prettiness, and brightness. Her home lessons never included extramural classes from her parents about the labeling of the human body and why her body had time shifts. The shift keys of her mind shifted from innocence to anything that appeared to be the answers to her questions. She accepted whatever this little heart of her told her. Childhood begins from home. She grew at the mercy of a maid who knew little, but was illiterate. She was robbed of her childhood from home. The mansion this princess lived contained bodies, but she was alone. Her arms were stretched apart, screaming for attention, like in salsa. This one man wrapped her with arms of attention, took advantage of her advantages and left her at a disadvantage. Wolves, maxed as sheep, with eyes puking for opportunities on the society's child. They are closer than you think. Some uncles, brothers, friends of families, the trustees we trust our children with. He forced himself through her, covered her mouth with his palm, raised a knife to her eyes, told her telling someone meant betrayal and was punishable by death. He taught her love lied between her thighs. He lied. Her taste bud was ignorant of what love tasted like. This was so good to be true, so she labeled it love. Come to my house was his lucky number. Let me save you from this tower of Babel, break the chains, and then give you a tiny handcuff, a ring. Let it ring in your mind that I almost love you. He took advantage of her advantages and left her at a disadvantage. Wolves maxed as sheep. This is how that girl you want your daughter to be fades away. And then she drowns in the ocean of silence as the world has a way of performing a befitting naming ceremony on every act she takes. Don't pity her silence because you labeled it too. Equated her silence to wanting her predicament. Those who are bold enough are able to offer a frail smile and then act like it never happened. Silence is an umbrella for the scorching hurt they feel inside. Silence is also the fastest way to die. These devourers smile and move on like a game they always win. They forget that Shada is a child and will grow up to becoming the replica of themselves. They forget that these seeds will germinate on their sisters, mothers, loved ones because they have one. They expect these girls to be strong and move on after munching on her flesh, and she's like a skeleton in the depths of the Red Sea being asked to swim. Notwithstanding, silence is also the fastest way to die. You need to speak up for the throat that is suffering for a voice to be heard. You need to speak up for the girl on your inside dying away. You need to speak up. Gather your bodies from the depth of the sea. Pick your pieces for the throne. Like in chess, a pawn can become queen. You're worth more than checking days until check days are gone. You're worth more than your skin color.
You're welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that piece. Yes. So, yeah, let's get into the topic. My guest for today is Chuks OgheneSunesis. He's a creative entrepreneur. So he ensures that he makes good money from being a creative.
We try.
Yeah, and his current work as a creative director for the design project, which started in 2016, is focused on inspiring a series of micro conversations, skills acquisition workshops, and networking events. It's all aimed at designing solutions to problems that plague our society, from business to social issues and everything else in between. And the good thing is religion is also part of it.
Yeah.
So we're discussing religion as another system of control. Trust me, it's not a question and answer segment.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank God.
so it is a conversation, and that's why we're going to be playing Ludo as we talk about it. And yeah, we
Okay.
have Jinx to help us ease the conversation. But really,
for a moment, I thought I was in some exam hall.
No,
just
it's
in-
not.
Or some interview of some sort.
no, it's not. Forget this notepad because we're not even using it. There's nothing inside. I didn't even write anything, so that you know that it's not a question and answer segment.
All right, thank you for having me around. It's great to be here.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Okay,
and you
good.
look lovely. You look very
Thank you,
lovely.
thank you.
And I like the hairdo too.
So I was telling him before now that he was looking too good and it's almost intimidating. Now he's blushing. Don't worry, at the end of today's show, I'm sure you'll be getting a lot of offers.
Normally, I have very strong comeback games, but I don't have any for that.
I have that effect on people, don't worry.
Rub it in. All right, so.
Yes. All right, so something happened recently. Okay, I've always thought about this particular phrase, religion as another system of control. However, it became a more pressing thing to talk about and to address for me, especially after the whole South African episode, and now we have the resurrection challenge and all of that. I mean, what is going on? Why are people taking advantage of other people's, what's it called again? People's vulnerability and ignorance.
Unawareness.
It's unfair, really.
There's a lot that can be said about that, actually.
Okay.
I think this is just a personal opinion, nothing based on research. Even as a designer, I prefer to do research before I think up something.
Okay.
What I see is there is something in most human beings where they are groping for God.
Yeah.
They're searching, they're trying to find out what is God, who is God, what is he like? It's something, questions that we've all asked from childhood. And sadly, most people, or a number of people rather, have still not found the answers to that. So there's this other part to this thing. When you see someone who is ignorant, but very, very confident, very, very bold, that's a very attractive force. So people tend to follow such people as leaders, their idea of God. Their idea of a savior, their idea of a priest, their idea of a special angel sent to them to lead them to God. So that's the scenario I seem to think that we're dealing with.
Okay.
Such that's why people can be doing something really stupid, but they can do it so confidently well that it will attract other followers.
Okay.
There are cases in the US where people ate grass because of someone who was leading them.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are places where people committed suicide thinking that aliens were going to come and save them because somebody led them there. So all these things kind of like add up. There's no one particular reason why people are that gullible. But I do believe within each person is a desire to want to find out the truth about God. In between, they may meet liars. In between, they may meet people who deceive others. It's not always the case for them to find someone who's really genuine.
Yeah, but I also think that sometimes people are lazy.
Yeah.
Because you're searching for God. The same way you're searching for God is the same way whosoever it is you think you're following is searching for God too.
True.
So how about taking out time and, checking within yourself and trying to really find him yourself?
I like the fact that you said you think people are lazy. People are not too drawn to how do I put this in the right phrase? People are not too drawn to engaging their critical thinking. Somehow, people think that when you're approaching God, ignorance is the best way to go. And there is a way it is. I do believe that when you eventually find God, you have to throw away much of what you think you know. I do believe that, yeah. But that's not the ignorance we're talking about.
You need to learn to unlearn.
To unlearn, thank you. That's
relearn and all of that.
Learn, unlearn, relearn. That's the exact way to put it. However, I have not done good research on this, but I do believe that, or from just mere observation, I realize that people or societies where education is very poor, you have more ignorant people. And as a result, you have much more mentally lazy people. So you tell me God is in Yaba. I'm like, oh yeah, please come and start talking to him. Talk to him for me. Instead of me going to Yaba to go meet him myself.
Yeah.
You get? So it will take effort for me to get into a vehicle, spend some money, transportation to go get, to go see God, to go meet with God. So it requires some form of energy, mental energy especially. Those are all intricacies about meeting God. Mental energy, stillness, calmness, being, not being distracted by the things, in quote, of the world.
Yeah, but I also realize that it takes a lot of, or rather, people think it takes a lot of energy to be still. It takes more energy to be still than to be running around. Why?
Activity is not progress.
True.
We always have to remind ourselves that activity is not progress.
Yeah.
We live in a society that is very fast.
True.
In a world too that is very fast. Computers are getting faster. People expect things to be done faster. Businesses are expected to be moving at the speed of light. So is all of this is gearing towards impatience. We're not very tolerant of people anymore. In the nutshell, I think education is a good advantage to better not be ensnared by the limitations of religion. The more people investigate, the more people are capable of investigating, the more they find out truth for themselves. The more they find out what they think works for them or what doesn't work for them. And if you notice, in the places where religious intolerance is very high, it's usually around the rural areas, places where people are with citizens who are not necessarily well educated. So some people use religion as a tool to feed off the ignorance of these people. And take, for instance, the North. Education is very poor in the North compared to the South. So people take religion as their main source of information. And if you try to introduce any other kind of information to a fully developed mind like that, they bounce that back for many reasons. One of them being cognitive dissonance. The long and short of cognitive dissonance is when what you have as a belief counters the facts that you're learning. And at that point you have to make a resolution. And something has to give way. And if what you believe is so strong within you, it will push out the facts, and then you're living in that religious bubble. So and people feed off that. So
is this common to a particular religion? But hold that thought before you answer. Let's go on a short break. When we get back, you get to answer my question. It's still the Olah Show, and the show continues in a bit. Welcome back. It's still the Olah Show, and we're still talking religion and other system of control. And so I was asking before the break if this control is common to a particular religion or it's the same across board. I don't think I've heard any group called atheists trying to fight for something. And I mean, they don't get deceived anyway because they don't believe in anything.
I think maybe it's because they've not formed a critical mass yet. Yeah. You know,
Okay.
it often happens. So it happens with every religion.
Okay.
Not just religion, it happens with every idea humans can grow a population around.
Okay.
Whether it's democracy, whether it's capitalism, whether it's any kind of religion, Islam, Christianity, Hinduism, you name it, the list is endless. Once you grow a critical mass, you now have this population of people and their mindset, like a social consciousness, countering what happens with other groups of people that are like them too, but of a different mindset. Once you have a people with a common opinion that counters another group of people with a common opinion, and there is no tolerance within the two groups of people, you would have these issues.
Okay, yeah. So this particular group of people, what would you call them? Would you call them atheists or the anti-religious? Is that what we're going to call them?
That could even be a new word to coin up for them. But
Yeah,
I do
because
know
it's not that they don't believe in God. It's just the fact that
some of them
they don't want
believe
to be
in.
tagged.
Yeah, some of them don't believe in God. The truth is, let me explain this part. It's very important. Most humans have given it poor representation
Of God.
of God.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah. True.
One of the truths we need to understand is that God is not a religion. He's not a religion. God was never interested in religion. And even as a believer in God, when I look at the way Christ is, I see that Christ too did not come to give us a religion. He did not come to say, oh, I came to make Christians. No, he never said that. He just said, I came to make people who want to follow me. That was all. Then he sent his disciples to go out and do the same thing. Go and gather people who would want to follow me. It's actually people who didn't believe that called them Christians.
Okay.
In fact, they had 3 names for them.
Christ-like.
Yeah, the Christ-like. It was first derogatory. You know the way you want to say someone, look at that dada boy. Do you get it? It was first like that. In fact, another place in...
And then he grew to be dreadlocks.
It became something fashionable.
Yeah.
The same way that derogatory word Christian like it was a taboo. Christianity also grew to become what we have it
Today.
now. Christianity did have its own religious issues too in the past. Now we seem to have Muslim militants or something like that, or do they call them fundamentalists?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
I think you know. So we had Christians like that too, back then. Just the same way we see these people.
Oh,
You know.
okay. So I think all what we've been saying today just boils down to the fact that as individuals, it's important for us to really learn to know our Creator ourselves. It's important to learn to know God ourselves and not be lazy. Because what happens, because I also hear that in Ghana you pay your pastor to fast for you and pray for you. I'm like, why?
That is amazing. That
So
is
you hear a
amazing.
lot of outrageous things.
Yes.
And I'm wondering, why do we subject ourselves to all of that? For me presently, I just tell people, I can talk to God by myself, so I don't need a third party. I
Very true.
don't need a middleman to get to my Creator.
I
He
also
didn't need a
think
middleman to create me.
in general, when it comes to the subject of God, we're talking about someone who's beyond this realm,
Yes.
right? And it's hard to understand something or someone that is beyond the physical unless you're on that side. So at first, it's important that you must believe that there is something beyond this realm.
Yes.
Whether you understand it or you don't understand it is a different ballgame. The next thing you should be asking yourself is, how do I get? How do I make sure that, how do I get to meet this person or being or whatever it is that is on the other side? How do I make sure that when I die or I'm no longer on this earth, how do I make sure that when I die or I'm no longer on this earth, what I meet on the other side is what I bargained for? All right? So these things are important. Now, I'm of the Christian faith. I'm a believer in Christ. So I know that Christ is that way. I know that Christ is God appeared
Amen.
to men as human. Because people often ask and say, how do you know that Jesus is the way? I usually just ask them, it's a simple question. I think the right question we should be asking is it possible for the all-powerful, almighty God that we think we all know to come as a human being? If it is possible, then I don't see why Jesus can't be who he said he was. You get? And so I think people should do their research. It's very important.
Yeah.
I grew up in a very religiously and also spiritually aware family. Over the years, I've started to see that we're leaning more towards spiritual awareness than religious awareness. Unfortunately, a lot of people are still stuck in that religious awareness. You can't blame the followers to some extent, because it's what they know. And it's also a mystery because you don't really get to know God unless God shows himself to you.
True.
So you can, if you're searching for God for the wrong motives, you will meet the wrong kind of gods.
Yeah, very
You will meet the wrong kind of gods.
Very true.
But if you're searching for God with the right motive, you will meet the right, it's what you're looking for you will find.
Yeah.
So if people believe there is God and there is a life after death, the way they would approach God will be quite different. We would not be saying, I mean, we know that we can't carry the money to that next world.
Yeah.
We came in naked, we leave naked. We came in without a body, we would leave without a body.
Yes.
All right, we leave this body here. So whatever we think we're trying to use to manipulate people because of their religious ignorance and because of their lack of understanding of spiritual matters, if we can just, I mean, both the followers and both the leaders doing this, if we can just understand that there is more, we will drop the things we're chasing after and seek the right things. That's what would happen. That's what would happen. And God introduces himself to people in so many diverse ways. Via dreams, via encounters, via strong inner convictions that you can't, people, have you ever been in that kind of situation where they ask you, how did you know? You say, I don't know, but I just knew.
Yeah.
That's kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, you have those scenarios. Some people have very vivid dreams. They wake up sweating and then they see these dreams begin to happen. And then they realize that, God met me in my dream.
That's good. All right, Sunesis, thank you so much. I've learned a whole lot. We've been talking too much. I think it's time for us to play a bit because you've not really played this game. So now you're going to do karaoke. You're going to test your singing skills.
Yeah, right.
So this is the time where I put Sunesis on the spot. What song do you want to sing?
I have no clue. We're running through songs and I couldn't find.
Okay, let's see what we have here and what you can sing. You said you wanted Lion King. Are you going to do it?
Hakuna Matata.
Yeah. I think we should just do that.
I think it's a good time to sing Hakuna Matata. Hakuna Matata. What a wonderful phrase. Hakuna Matata. Ain't no passing grace. It means for the rest of my days. I think I'm off key. It's a problem-free philosophy. Hakuna Matata. Yeah, we're on key now.
Yeah. We're finally getting it.
This is the part where they walk in the jungle. Why? When he was a young warthog. When I was a young warthog. Very nice, thank you. He found his mother. I don't know this part.
So,
the thin thick skin.
And it hurts.
My friend.
Oh,
This is where Puma was crying. It was a shame. It was a shame. What are my days? What's the name. Every time, blah, 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 blah. Hey, Pumba, not in front of the kid. Oh, sorry. Hakuna Matata. What a wonderful phrase. Hakuna Matata. Ain't no passing craze. There ain't no worries for the rest of this was Sinbad. I'm problem free. Philosophy. Hakuna Matata.
You've tried.
I've tried, right?
You have tried. Thank you.
Yo.
Wow, really, you've tried.
That's like 20 years ago. 2002 now. No, 1994. 94.
I can't even remember when exactly. Anyway, we've had so much fun on the show. We've learned a whole lot from Sunesis. And this is the part where we draw the curtains for today. Till next time, it's been the Olah Show. Bye for now.
Bye.